What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Rob's Gaming Table. Today on the table we have another top 8 game from the Vault Tour held at Origins Game Fair 2019. This is KeyForge Age of Ascension sealed format. We got Colby on the left, Brad on the right. If you want to see both players' deck lists, you can check them out in the description below. And this is Colby, aka Codamron of the Bouncing Deathquark podcast. If you want to listen to a podcast about competitive KeyForge, check that out in your favorite podcast app. And you can also check out Colby's YouTube channel. I've linked it in the description below, where you can watch him live stream games on there. And it looks like in Umbra to start on Brad's side for a Shadow's turn. On Colby's side, he's starting with a Soul Snatcher and a Lash. And I want you guys to go check out the deck lists that are in the description below and take a look at Colby's deck and Brad's deck. Both have some interesting things in them. So Colby's playing a Soul Snatcher deck we see there. He also has 3 banishes to get rid of his opponent's creatures to their archives, which gets around destroying the creatures to give your opponent Amber. He's got 3 key abductions, and that would be annoying if you were a Mars player playing against Colby's deck, being bounced around. He also has Collector Worm and Brainstem Antenna, which he can pair together, and if he gets those going, he's got a Mars First in there. He can basically, you know, play Mars creatures and use key abductions and bounce guys and reuse guys, and yeah, just kind of archive your creatures into his archives. And that also gets around the Soul Snatcher downside of anytime a creature is destroyed, his opponent gains 1.
I don't know if that's smart to do, but that's what we're doing.
And also Colby has a Dusk Witch, 2 Grove Keepers, Save the Pack, Mimicry, Nepenthe Seed. He also has Papaka, Anga, and Jaga in his deck. And he also has one of my favorite rares in Age of Ascension. He's got Pose Pixies in there, and that protects him when the opponent steals any Amber from him. It comes from the common pool instead of from his pool of Amber. So we saw Bone Rot Venom played there on Umbra. And Brad just checking with the judge, making sure that he gets to fight and steal and all that stuff before the creatures died. And that is correct, he does. You get to use them and fully do all the effects, then he's destroyed. On the other side, we saw an Untamed turn there by Colby playing Regrowth just for the Amber. And then a Nox, who will be +3 because he now has a neighbor, which is a Dusk Witch, which was Omega, to end the turn. And that will make all creatures come into play ready on Colby's side while that Dusk Witch is there. So Brad's fighting the Dusk Witch, which will just burn the elusive. He'll steal 1, and then Bone Rot will kill the Umbra, which works with Soul Snatcher, gaining Brad and Amber because his creature is destroyed. And he goes up to 6 in check, and he's trying to say the Dusk Witch will be dead, but we know it has elusive, so he's going to need to fight it twice to kill it, and the Dusk Witch will stick around. So Colby's going to go Dis, raise the key cost on Brad by 3 to make sure he doesn't forage. And just a banish for the Amber. And an Anguish gets dropped down, readied. And he's going to reap, gaining an Amber, of course. Not able to fight. There's no creatures to fight. So some interesting stuff in Brad's deck. He has a Swindle, 2 routine jobs. He's got a Yahtzee Gang in there for some steal. On top of the Umbra you already saw. And he has a Legacy Everfescent Principle. And my favorite thing in Brad's deck is the 3 Hexpeons who die and archive themselves along with the top card of your deck. He also has Director of ZYX and ZYX Researcher, and with Project ZYX. I have a couple decks with those 3 together, and they can be disgusting if you have them on the board working together. And he also has 2 Drummernauts, but no Ganger Chieftain, but I do like the 2 Screech Bombs he has in his Brobnar lineup there for some extra Amber control. So interestingly there, Brad plays Coward's End, destroying all undamaged creatures, gaining 3 chains, but Colby gets to gain 3 Amber off the Soul Snatcher. So I don't know if that was a good trade to get 3 chains while your opponent gets 3 Amber. I don't know. But in the long term of things, we'll see how it works out. You see Brad dropping in Drummernaut, Foozle, and Bingle Bang Bang. Still in check with 6 there. Colby sitting at 5 Amber. Is he going to be forced to go Dis again to use the Lash, or will he just play straight? Does he have any Amber control? And interestingly, Colby does not have Shadows. And he's here in the top 8. So that's got to be something. Well, Colby does have one of the best cards in Age of Ascension, in my opinion. He's got an Exhume. Only one, but he still has it, which I think is an amazing card. And definitely you see it in a lot of the top decks that are playing discs, that's for sure. So we have Mars coming into play. We got a Mind Worm. He gets the Brainstem Antenna. So anytime a Mars creature enters play, you can ready that creature, and it acts like he's in House Mars. So, you know, I mean, you don't want to put it onto a non-Mars creature, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers. He has it now. He wants to play it. Puts it on the Mind Worm. Readies him up. Reaps with him. We see a Stormcrawler out there who only deals 1 damage when fighting, but when an enemy creature reaps, it'll be stunned. Beambuckler's going to come out, readying the Mind Worm with that Brainstem Antenna. Deal 2 damage. And it's going to go on the Drummer Knot, it looks like here. And you can use the Mind Worm again here. He is going to fight with the Mind Worm against Foozle. Foozle will deal 5 damage to each of his neighbors before fight, off of the Mind Worm's before fight effect.
Oh, right. Sorry. Okay. Yes.
And then Foozle and Mind Worm will fight, where Foozle will kill the Mind Worm, but the Mind Worm will hit the Foozle back for 5 damage.
So I smack you for 1, and then I die. And I gain 1.
And they're going to each gain some Amber here off the Soul Snatcher, putting Colby into 7. And I think Brad's also in 7, and he gets the Forge for 6. And he actually has 2 Amber remaining, so he was up to 8 there. So we have our first KeyForge here. Brad's up 1-0. I find Soul Snatcher a very interesting card. It's that fine line if you got the tools to take advantage of it, but sometimes your opponent can turn it against you. Especially when you have some larger creatures. They can just run their little guys into your creatures and kill themselves when they need Amber. And nothing you can really do about it. So we have Bingle Bang Bang coming into play there on the right flank. And then we have a Screech Bomb played out. And interestingly there, Brad reaped with Foozle, gaining an Amber, and nobody caught that Stormcrawlers on the board and would have stunned him. So both players missed that. I don't know if they'll catch it here. But Colby forges after playing his turn. A little out of sync there, but they have to do it. So Colby forges have 1 Amber remaining, drops a Rustnar, Grovekeeper, and that Pose Pixies. And then he'll use the Grovekeeper's ability to buff up the Pose Pixies and the Rustnar. And see, the Grovekeeper, he's kind of an anti-Soul Snatcher card in my mind, because he's making your board bigger. Which, again, goes into that thing where I said the opponent can run into those guys and they don't die. And you kind of want to have little guys with the Soul Snatcher deck, so they're easy to get off the board. At least I think that's the idea. But I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments below if I'm completely off base there. But my experience with my Soul Snatcher decks, the good ones have all the weenies who can die easily, and the bad ones have all the large dudes and the Banner of Battles and stupid stuff like that in it. Where my guys end up sticking around on the board, and I can't even get rid of them when I want to try to gain Amber. It looks like Colby's thrown down some armor tokens there just to show armor on the Stormcrawler and the Beambuckler.
I'm gonna go.
If you haven't already checked out the Day 1B videos, they're in a playlist at Rob's Gaming Table on YouTube. Go check them out. So we got Bingle Bang Bang fighting here, going after the Grovekeeper. He will deal 5 damage to the neighbors of Grovekeeper, that giving 2 damage to Colby for having 2 creatures destroyed. Then Bingle Bang Bang fights Grovekeeper, dies himself, just deals 2 damage to the Grovekeeper. And Brad gains an Amber off of Bingle Bang Bang dying. And then Screech Bombs Colby for 2 Amber. And we got a Reap on the Foozle, gaining an Amber and an extra Amber since the creature was destroyed. And again, forgetting the Stormcrawler's stun on the Foozle there. That Foozle should have been stunned there and shouldn't have been able to do that, but both players missing it here. Now we have Colby going with a Lash of Broken Dreams on a disc turn, raising the key cost by 3. Throwing a Gub on the left flank. Binding Irons to give Brad 3 chains back here. To live in that chain life, and then Banish on the Foozle. Gaining an Amber, throwing Foozle in the archives, which won't gain Brad an Amber off Soul Snatcher since it was archived, not destroyed. And here comes the Logos turn for Brad, dropping down Library of Babel. And the director of ZYX and Project ZYX.
Start of your
And he's at check again with 6.
top card of your deck.
So the director will let him archive a card at the start of his turn off the top of his deck, and the Project ZYX actually lets him, on a reap or fight, I believe, play a card out of his archives as if it belonged to the active house and it was in hand or something like that. Let's just check the actual wording off the...
Marth. Oh, this guy should have done.
Bring it back to the graveyard.
It looks like Colby just remembering his Grovekeeper there that should have given +1 to... +1 to the Beambuckler there. So he throws down a Mother Gun, reaps twice with his 2 Mars creatures there, and plays a Key Abduction, which will gain him an Amber, and then all Mars creatures will return to their owner's hands. And he could forge a key at +9 cost, minus all the cards in hand, but that's not happening right now. Does not have what he needs for that. Yeah, so Project ZYX is fight, reap. You may play one of your archive cards as if it were in your hand and in the active house. So I was correct, yeah. I do love that card. It's fun. It's fun when you get them all out together. Or at least any archiving going, really, with him, really.
Mommy gun.
So Beambuckler coming back in. Guys will come into play effect, dealing 2 damage. He'll do it to Gub. Since Gub doesn't have 2 neighbors, he's only 1 strength. So he will die, gaining Colby an Amber.
Gains Amber.
Another Key Abduction, gaining an Amber, returning Beambuckler back to hand. To use his come into play effect to destroy the Grovekeeper, getting Colby another Amber. And going up to 8. Then we got Stormcrawler back into play and a Collector Worm on the left flank.
And then check at 8.
And Colby just using armor tokens just on Beambuckler and Stormcrawler. I guess doesn't want to use 5 on the Collector Worm there.
Start of my turn, I archive the top card of my deck.
So start of the turn, Director's archiving the top card of the deck for Brad. Filling up that archive as logos do. Doing what logos do.
I will take my archive.
And interestingly, I think the Mother Gun, maybe it was played on that last turn. Yeah, it probably was.
Routine job, steal 1.
Routine job played, steal 1. Second routine job to steal 2 more. Getting Colby off check, bringing Brad to 3 Amber. After forging his second key already. And we got a Bullet Eye played there, who has that Reap, destroy a flank creature ability, also elusive. And then the Yahtzee Gang has the action Steal 1, big 5-bodied Shadows creature. And losing chains and drawn only to 5. Brad's been chained most of the game, it seems. But that archiving is helping him get through that. He's able to forge 2 keys. Got halfway to his 3rd key. Even with all the chains, his deck's going pretty quickly. Looks like Colby dropping his cards, crosses his arms here, trying to figure out what to do. He's falling behind here. He's got to try to get that 2nd key and keep Brad close enough. He doesn't start putting himself in a check. Now just quickly looking at Colby's deck here. He doesn't have much Amber control. I mean, he can raise the key cost. He does have a Mind Warper. It's kind of like a delayed steal. But other than that, I don't see... Oh, he's got Anguish, which we already saw come and go. Yeah. Now let's see. Mind Warper, Lash, Anguish. Oh, he's got Mimicry. I mean... I don't know. He could copy a routine job or, I guess, a bait and switch. Or, I guess not a bait and switch in this tournament. A derp-a-derp. I guess unless it's Legacy. But I'm sure there's some Amber control actions he could copy that just aren't coming to mind right now. So he's going Mars, and interestingly, doesn't use Mother Gun to reveal the Mind Warper and deal a damage to anybody. He's just going to play the Mind Warper and reap twice, once with the Stormcrawler, once with the Beam Buckler, and then use the Collector Worm to fight, it sounds like. It's just debating on what is the target. And all 4 of those cards across the table are super juicy, and I can see why he can't quickly pick one. I mean, you don't want Bullet Eye destroying your flank creatures. You don't want Yahtzee Gang stealing your Amber. You don't want Director XYZ or ZYX or whatever it is archiving cards every round. And then you don't want the Project ZYX there playing cards out of your archives on basically doing house cheating on turns he shouldn't be.
I take 5 damage.
And we got the Yahtzee Gang is the choice, being archived by the Collector Worm.
3. Oh, never mind. 5 damage. Right.
Of course, the armor on Collector Worm that now has tokens is blocking that damage from the Yahtzee Gang. And Colby's back in check with 7. And there's that Director doing his work there, archiving the top card of Brad's deck. And you get to see that card before he chooses his house and then takes his archives if he wants. So it's just extra information. So good. So it sounds like he's going Logos. We have the Effervescent Principle. And he gains a chain for that, going up to 2.
I lose 3 Amber. You lose 1. Yes.
Colby loses 3. Brad loses 1. And Colby asks if that's a legacy, and it is. Surprised to see that card, I'm sure. And Library Babble, drawing a card for Brad.
I will play Physics Researcher.
And we have the ZYX Researcher coming into play, and he can archive the top card of his discard pile or his deck, I believe. And he does the discard to archive Effervescent Principle again. And there's one of those Hexpeons on the left flank. And a Crazy Killing Machine, which is a rare from the first set. Action, discard the top card of each player's deck. For each of those cards, destroy a creature or artifact of that card's house, if able. If 2 cards are not destroyed as a result of this, destroy Crazy Killing Machine.
5 armor. That's 1 armor. 1 armor. That's all 4 things. I am actually just going to reap twice.
So he's going to reap with the Director and Project, getting 2 Amber. And again, looks like both players are forgetting the Stormcrawler and his stun ability. And we got Drummer Knot coming into play.
5.
Out of the archives off the Project's ability. It's too bad. The Stormcrawler and the stuns, who knows what difference that would have made. That would have been a lot less Amber from reaping. Maybe not, that Brad would have had. At least that Foozle getting 2 Amber on that one turn for sure. Shouldn't have happened since it would have been stunned. And it sounds like Colby's going Mars. And there he goes. He remembers the Stormcrawler.
Unless you say I don't have to.
I'm sure Colby's realizing now the mistake he's made since that Stormcrawler's been there a long time. And yeah, that's that feeling not good. So Brad's sitting at 4 Amber. Same with Colby, except for Brad's ahead on a key. And Brad's flooding the board with characters here, and that could be a problem since Colby can't really just fight into them and destroy them since it will get Amber off a Soul Snatcher. So he's kind of put himself in that weird spot where he has to archive them or get rid of them some other way. I guess archiving them on either side, which he's been doing. He's going to go Mars here. Mind Warper is going to put one on Bullet Eye from Brad's Amber Pool. And Collector Worm's going to fight Bullet Eye, which will just archive Bullet Eye on Colby's side. And he'll get an Amber for that, the one that was captured from the Mind Warper ability. And he's going to reap with Stormcrawler, reap with Beam Buckler, putting him at 7 and check for that second key, bringing Brad down to 3. And a weird spot here. Colby's not drawing any cards since he just used everything he had in play. And he's not sitting on any Mars I can see here. And there's that effervescent principle played again.
Lose my change.
Oh, sorry, swindle. Sorry, it was swindle. My bad. Effervescent principle is still in the archives. He said swindle. So he steals 3, puts himself in check for that third and final key. Keeps Colby off that second key. And it sounds like he's going Mars again. Oh. I guess he has to. He probably has no Amber control in hand. But he does have the Lash of Broken Dreams, and I know he does have some discards in hand. So he's going to archive the Drummernaut off the Collector Worm through a fight ability there. Since the Drummernaut was 6 power, he will deal 1 to the Collector Worm, breaking through the armor. And we got the Reap off the Stormcrawler, Reap off Beambuckler again. An Amber was gained there from that Mind Warper ability, putting it on Drummernaut first. And Colby again, check at 7 for that second key. Keeps Brad off of check with 5. But again, Colby not drawing cards. And like I was saying before, he's stuck in that kind of loop you get in sometimes with Lash of Broken Dreams. Except Colby could use Lash of Broken Dreams
Archive top card of my deck.
just to play Dis.
Yes, sorry. Yes.
But he chooses to keep using the Mars in play. I mean, maybe he has nothing in hand. Even if he used Lash, Brad could have just shot up to more Amber, and then he maybe wouldn't have any control drawn or from the Mars in play that would help him in this game. I mean, Colby knows his deck better than I do. But I think he missed a chance there where he could have lashed and maybe got rid of a bunch of discards out of hand. So Brad's taking his archives to hand. We know he has Effervescent Principle in there. He's going to do it. And Brad will lose 2. Colby will lose 3. Brad will get a chain again. And we got Library Babble drawing a card. But interestingly, if I was in Brad's shoes and I noticed that Colby just kept playing Mars and never drawing anything, never playing anything from hand, I would be tempted to attack his board and start killing some creatures, even though Soul Snatcher is there. Because Brad did have Effervescent Principle where he could have fought, killed some guys on the other side, and then played Effervescent Principle after the fact. And that way Colby would have less Mars in play, wouldn't be able to get to check, and then be forced to play another house and probably just lose the game based on that. But it's this Mind Warper Collector Worm combo that's keeping Colby in this. And I would have tried to break that up right away. So we see some reaping there, some stuns happening. They're remembering the Stormcrawler now. So the Researcher and Hexbion are both getting stunned. But Brad's just going reaping. He's just trying to get to check. Got a Cutthroat Research just for the Amber. Putting him into check with 6.
Lose my chain. Not draw a card.
And that's the other thing. You'd have Effervescent Principle and Cutthroat Research. So I might have put Colby up to 8 or higher and then stole with Cutthroat Research and then use Effervescent Principle. I mean, you're going to lose Amber anyway off Effervescent Principle, so it could go either way. But it's just an interesting thing here looking at this, watching Colby stuck on the Mars, which he does the little trick again with the Mind Warper. Putting Brad again to 5, going another round here. And Collector Worm doing the archive thing.
And I gain an amber from sort to 5.
Yeah, there's the Amber that was collected from the Collector, or from the Mind Warper. Sorry, on the who was it he took? I think the Director. The Director is who he got there. Finally got him out of play to prevent that archive at the start of turn. Now he's debating what he wants to do with Stormcrawler and Beambuckler. He can't fight and destroy anybody because that will Soul Snatcher, sorry, will get Brad into check again. So he's also stuck. He's basically handcuffed here by Soul Snatcher, and we see that Crazy Killing Machine was used to get rid of the Lash. So there's no way Colby can use that to kind of stall the game and play some discards like I was talking about before. And he just reaps twice again. Stuck in this loop. We've seen the same turn over and over again here from Colby. Going to 7. He's in check again. Brad just needs to do what he can do to get as much Amber as he can. If he just can get to 7, if he could have got to 7 on any turn, I think he would have won it already. But the fact he's only getting to 6 is allowing Colby to continue to control him with that Mind Warper. So it's like this awkward back and forth here. I'm sure Brad's frustrated. He can't seem to forge that third key. Colby, I'm sure, is super frustrated. He can't seem to forge that second key, and he's not getting to draw any cards out of his deck. Looks like Brad's checking out his deck list here, trying to see what he could draw into, maybe off Library Babble. Deciding whether he wants to keep going Logos. Maybe he's looking for an answer that can deal with this. I am surprised he got rid of the Lash of Broken Dreams. But now thinking about it, that the Soul Snatcher I would have maybe targeted. But then again, that might have opened it up for Colby to do some different stuff. Start fighting creatures, destroying creatures. Yeah, I think maybe Lash... I don't know if Lash was the right target. I mean, I'm watching from a bird's eye view here after the fact, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Would you have destroyed Soul Snatcher or Lash there? I mean, I'm not in the top 8, so I don't know any better.
I don't know. I don't know what's smart.
So looks like Brad's kind of stuck here, doesn't know which way to go. While we're waiting for Brad to decide, make sure you guys click that subscribe button. Also hit the like button on this video. It helps other people find these videos on YouTube when they're searching for the KeyForge stuff. And if you notice any play mistakes or any goof ups that I haven't noticed already or any constructive criticism, feel free to leave it in the comments below. We can use that to all learn from the mistakes of all players. We all make mistakes in these games, but they'll all help other people watching these videos in the future learn from them. Maybe we can discuss some strategies and whatnot. And if you want to support the channel to help get me to more tournaments like Gen Con coming up and help improve the channel, feel free to donate. The link is in the description below. Thank you to everyone who supports us on Patreon so far. I appreciate all of you. You all make this channel happen. Alright, so we got Brad choosing Logos. We got Hex Beyond fighting into Stormcrawler. So they'll each hit each other for 1, since looks like Brad was thinking Stormcrawler deals 6 damage, but he has it on his text box. He only deals 1 when fighting. And Brad's super frustrated. Made a mistake there, not reading the cards. As we obviously know, they weren't reading the cards since they kept forgetting Stormcrawler's ability. His stun ability. So, of course, why would you remember his deals 1 damage when fighting ability? So the Amber's gone off Stormcrawler. He takes the damage. Hex Beyond takes the damage. I think Brad was trying to destroy Hex Beyond there to get an Amber off Soul Snatcher and then archive a card off his deck along with Hex Beyond. And then that would let Project ZYXer do his Reap or Fight and then be able to play one of those cards back into play. So we got Helper Bot allowing Brad to play a card out of house. What has he got in hand there? He's got something he wants to play. It looked like a Brobnar card, but he's put it back now. Maybe he's deciding on something else. Looks like he has some options here. He doesn't know which way to go. He's going to do Tremor. Oh! On the Beam Buckler, that will stun the Stormcrawler, Beam Buckler, and Mind Warper. I think that seals the game there, since Colby's not able to just do the Mars tricks next turn. And we got Project ZYX reaping and getting stunned off the Stormcrawler. And we're unstunning the Researcher and Hex Beyond. And going to 6 Amber. And if what I think is in Colby's hand is correct, we see him flipping them there. I don't think he has any Amber control out of any house. He's now does not have the Lash, so he's not able to just go dis and stall for another turn here. Hoping to draw into an answer. He is in between a rock and a hard place here. And that is too bad.
I don't think I have it. Well, I have a key. But I don't
Oh, and he forges a key here at the start of his turn, though. But he says he doesn't think he has it. But he's going to look through his cards here, just play it out.
I've had it in the past.
So it looks like Brad's going to be moving on to the top 4 here. I will have those videos coming up on the channel. So like I said, make sure you subscribe. You can also hit that alarm bell button to be notified whenever videos get posted on the channel, so you don't miss them. They'll all be in a playlist at Rob's Gaming Table on YouTube.
We'll play it out. Pain reaction.
And yeah, Colby's just going to play it out. He's going to do pain reaction there, deal 2 damage.
Deals 2 damage to who?
And he's going to do it to the project.
I will banish.
He's going to banish.
You.
He's going to put Hex Beyond in the opponent's archives.
I'll discard.
Gaining an Amber for that. And then he's going to play Call the Weak, gain an Amber, and pass. And Brad wins. So that's too bad. Colby's run ends there. I want to thank Colby and Brad for playing on camera. Thanks to everyone who donates on Patreon. And don't forget to check out Colby, a.k.a. Cole Dameron's YouTube channel. The link is in the description below. Tell him Rob from Rob's Gaming Table sent you. And go on over there and subscribe to him and go watch his KeyForge content. It is good stuff. All right. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.